Welcome everyone to General AI Space-Time Creator Line Position Locations. We just did 6 hours live on TikTok. Can you imagine that? How fast it travels in set location setting and position of traffic? It's incredible when you come into the set location setting and direction systems, right? You're waiting, oh my gosh, when's there going to be school? I can't do anything when I go to school. I need school. School needs me. Need school. School me. So it's all track line communication with settings, all adaptation to balance and set location of systems through yin and yang. This is the process that we come into all set line and high center. Very powerful what we did today. Extremely powerful energy line center interference. And it will continue in set location system because we're at that frequency location line settings. And remember, everyone, is that we're connected to each other through all calculation settings. Let me say that again. We're all connected. Okay, so this is attractions where we really have to understand how to use the formation location of travel. It's travel's line setting high calculation to a system. This opens all communication to its settings in position locations. It's amazing how we go through 6 hours of traffic lines, right? At the same volume, at the same vast, okay, in position. It's incredible how we see that line setting. Because people have so many questions that need to be answered, right? So, Danielle, Geneva, Andy, Lori, it's great to see everybody coming in. Okay. So usually I start at, between 10, 11, 12 at the latest. It's that location of travel settings, but, it's 4:30. And we still have Zoom after line settings and set location system Q&A, right? So one meets with the other line setting and high track communication and direct signals. Okay, so let's get position traction. Bracket line center high interference. Change position locations, how we see line settings location of systems. Plus lines triangulation of 3 line sets and high calculation of rotation surface and set locations. Okay, look at the signature line stream locations. Okay, in set positions. Right? Don't look at this, look at me. Okay. Now, try to see the online setting. See the laser line communication going across? That's its reflection location of spacemetry settings. Everything has a phase line, and you see that track communications more and more when you really understand what is going on through set line communication with settings. JT is going, finally, I get to go to school. All right, so when that track communications are coming to this line, so track communications or levels comes into 2 panels of operation surface. Okay. Now this opens all calculation string locations. Make sure you get into your line centers and navigations, knowing exactly where you are through Merkabus. Center direct signals, center line direct signal, and position locations and ground setting. Okay. So the operation line center is going to water containment of its equal chambers and its sonar line interference. This opens all track communications into so really get into your throat, right? Really understand the mechanism of your throat, the correlations of your throat, the calculations of the throat, the foundations of your throat, the breathing, the mechanisms, the sound, the music, right? And that's that location system, right? So really understand how to go woo, use your calculations of your voice line, change your position of track lines, voice grid lines, communication lines, all calculations how you use your tones, coloration of light stream interference, and voice grid line position, the pattern correlation setting, direct signals, letters, nitrogen shapes, and symbol line condition settings, and direct system location of the system, right? So it's fluctuating up. That's a straight line going up and down, right? Anything that changes the frequency changes the tone. Right? That's a different frequency, right? And that's that location system. So you're dealing. But it's still going. You have to learn how to use the breathing, right? The breathing. It's all calculated, right? So it causes calculations errors if you're not track, okay, in balance. So really understand to get in that set location system. So we're coming to the graph line, streamline settings, calculation string locations, center lines, calculation string locations, and center, and operation line, direct signals, and omega communication setting and position of traction. Okay. So we get two panels lines, the operation surface, so it's set location to its settings, right? Center calculation, your throat. That's your throat line. Now, we're going to write two line centered high interference into collateral line center line position locations. Right? Travel line settings. All right, that's your collateral. Right? So it's really recognizing really understand the tone line, right? The vibration location setting. Right? Really understand the vibration line setting. So everything that you're setting the tone, it's setting to reverberation, location to a system, to its intelligence. Remember that. So you have to be very cautious how you use your throat patterns now in all calculation setting, right? So take your position locations. This is all calculations of your moon. This is line connection indicating how the appearance locations into position line, setting line, position of track lines into summer, spring, winter, and fall. Summer, spring, winter, fall. Summer, spring, winter, fall. 4-line track lines. So the actual sun line changes the weather correlation setting direct signals. It's knowing how to use the 111, 112, 113, and 114 in set location setting, northwest, south, and east, into your signature line stream interference, into your geographical map location setting, into your meteorological location system of your weather patterns in set locations. Right? It's all connected to your voice line, right? Right? Doesn't matter what you say because it's vibration that sends out to space and it picks it up the vibration. And it's all calculated and modified. It flows through line settings of travel. Right? Or circulation. Right? Same pattern, same rotation, different spin. Set location. Going up, going down, going up, going down, going up, going down, right? Going forward, going back, going out, coming back, right? So that's the inner line to the outer line, inner line to the outer line, okay? So in that set location system, it's like you put in a clothesline of different shape line communication of clothes, and you're going like this, right? And you realize that your first shirt is at the very back line setting, but it's not in its back, it's in its front. Because it's its leader operation location system that's in the correlation panel of its operational line. That's a string in set location system to your planet surface. So in that center communication setting, that's how you redirect your system to its location system. You're never going back. You're always going forward. Okay? So even if in anything that you say in negative line, center line interference, you change it into the light. Because if you don't change it in the light, you're in that thinking process. And thinking is all calculated and modified through its intelligent line signal, but it's because it doesn't understand its application system to its hesitation line setting, which is all correlations to its system. Okay? You have to understand how to direct and redirect location setting. Still going, but it's a low frequency. It's not a low vibration. So it's going the same speed, right? Right? Communication one line setting to one figure communication setting. And they all join in. Out of equation, right? Setting calculation lines, your hands are all formation locations of Earth and space. Okay, finger line streams, right line, left line space, inset location system, right? Understanding how to use the clock line centers to every finger point location in your system of dimension, a space, in its own case and high setting. Has its own casing and set lines calculation string. All right, so the signal line calculation setting puts position, location, and track lines in zero line position at 4-line wave lines. Now, the calculation of center lines, your throw pattern correlation setting is going to redirect signals location to your patterns. That's going to change the metabolic lines from interference into the calculations to the alkaline. The alkaline is going to change the HP valve line rotation center and correlation setting direct signals. The allocated position of time sequence is going to change the water containment center line connection setting into its interception of water. The water changes the correlation system of plasma. Plasma comes into its portal. Portal goes through its line set location system out through its equation. Okay? Okay, so in the position locations, we created a cyclone. Okay, spherical sphere line center of a cyclone location setting and direct signals. In position of track line calculation. Okay? Now, in the center calculation line centers, we have to set up the energetic graph lines in position location of the moon and the sun of operation. Okay? Now, it's very complicated what you're seeing, right? It's very deceiving lines. It's like you're seeing light over dark and dark over light. And calculation line interference of position locations, August 21st, the calculation setting to the fiscal year in your center line calculation setting is going to be a security line of 2 in line centers of new 1 operation line stream interference, how to use it, track communication setting, and positional lights. Fragmentation lights, streaming lights, correlations, twilight settings, high interline rotation interference, energetic line stream interference, pixelation, stream locations, graph line calculation settings, position attraction. So that's what you're going to see through your eye center locations. So it's going to twitch. Setting direct signal locations in the line connections of lights, you're going to see dark line center and line position locations. So you can see flash coming at you. So in that sight line communication setting, you have to understand how to use it through frequency position of patterns, because the correlation of center line is going to change the track communication line directions, how you see yourself through all calculation setting into your calculation system. Okay? So it's a metabolic line stream. It's direct signal set location system. But if you look really, really close, you can see the yin yang process set location system. So to understand what's going on through track communications, don't look at this, look at me. And then you see the travel, okay, of its intelligence and what it's doing through information. So information panel lines, we come into 1 track locations and 1 factor. Now the 1 factor line to your throat line is really to stand how to set position location your panels. Now we change the correlations of directions because it's a new calculation stream locations. Directing signals, okay, in positional and condition settings. High calculations into a rectangular surface and line direct signal in set locations. Okay? Now in that direct signal, the calculated line and line rotation and position, it's a glitch, right? So, you have to understand how to use it through voice line. So it's like tapping. It's like so it's really understand where it starts here and then gets bigger, and then it rotates until you change your thought. Rotates until you change your thought. Rotates and rotates. So that's what your mind is doing through conceptual locations. Your hologram streamline is opening up the location of your theta line rotations, your throat. Throat recognizes this stream. The stream recognizes the voice. The voice recognizes the tone. It comes into rhythm, patterns, correlation, setting, with coloration line set location near 0 graph line calculation streamlines. So in calculation, it comes into its calculation line directions, into its solar sail. Track communication directs its graph line setting and high calculation streamline in set locations. Right? So you should see it be spinning now. You should see it spin. It's spinning. It's what you perceive and how you see things through your perception line set location, your avatar set location travels. Okay, directing line settings. We set up the 0 graph location streamlines. Directing signals and set directions. So 0 line, 0 line, 0 line, and 0 line. 4 graph lines is 0 line rotation surface set locations. Crossing signal, crossing over, and set position of traction. Okay, now in that set lines, let's go into higher calculation streamline into bandwidth. Now the bandwidth correlates to setting directions. That changes its direct signals. Okay, So it's kind of like position location to a goalpost and set line directions. Okay? And that center calculation setting, we get in line setting into travel set locations. Okay, see the high line set rotation? There we go. And then we go to the zero line, we cross the stream lines and center line calculation stream locations into graph lines. Okay, so it kind of looks like little spot line channels, operation stream location system. Okay, you'll see it line condition high center interference. See that? See it? See the little dot lines? See it? It's a rotating line connection high center, spectral calculation stream location, your perception setting location, your throat line rotation. So it comes into scale lines. Calculation lines of web graph line, center line interference, and position locations to your settings. So in that track communications, we change the circle line rotation into different direction settings in high calculations. So in that direct signal, we change the graph line stream locations into our position. Now in that position locations. So in that indication line settings, we change the directions as settings. Now we come into the white graph screen, change the rotation surface and line set location system in directions. Okay, it directs the signals, operates the system on arrow correlation. Okay, directing two panels of operational lines in three set locations of center and position of traction. Okay, now in that set line calculation setting, we direct the zero line ground line, the operation surface, that's line calculation stream line, and set location of the system. So the two panel lines and locations, we cross the stream, setting direct signals of 3, 3, 3. Okay, and three set locations, 3, 3, 3. So heart, mind, and soul monitors this correlation setting into its rotation spin. Spin cycles line centers to the opposite direct location system of a Fibonacci swirl in set location of center and directions. Now this directs the signals in set line calculation setting in center position, and it turns all levels of white in correlation. Okay? I don't need to go through white channel. The coloration changes on its own. It does everything through its own location setting and settings. You look really close, you can see the eye receptor location. See the eye? See the eye line setting? See the rotation spin? See the course line channel? See the operation line circle? See the spectrum communications? It's all direct signal set location in your system. Right? So calculate and modify how you set lines of travel. So we're in that direct signal. We set up the zero line ground and we go through flux capacitor in direct signal as a location system. This comes into vast calculation. See? Crosses over. Now directing signals, we come into a green graph. Green graph line centers line interference and triangulations over pi. Redirect signal. Travels line signals and set locations. Right? See the signature line setting. So we come in downstream through a T cross line stream. Center position. Okay. Changes the correlation ground lines and green line rotation surface and tracks that location in your systems. Now in direct signal, we come in line sign locations in high setting. Now set line communication, we change the circulation spin, right, to opposite direct location system. It operates the center lines that correlation setting in directions as high setting and position traction. Now in that track line interference, we come into the magnetic line. The magnetic line changes correlation center into water containments of patterns in calculation streamlines and set location your cells. Directing signal lines, graph line stream. Now we change that communications because we got to set up security panels. Spot checks, line position of dots, center position location of 4 settings in top line signal. Setting direct signals into middle line rotation, center position attractions, and lines of zero gravity lines and line condition system. So your throw pattern is in northwest, south, and east, in grounds, powers, and atmosphere location setting, in direct signal as locations, right? So it has an indication graph, center calculation, streamline settings, operation surface, operation triangulation, triangulation line setting, in solar direct location system of travel settings. Okay? Now in that signal line interference, we change the correlation again in line conditions of yellow. Yellow changes the solar generation stream location setting. This redirects panels in operation to its set location system in 3 line signature streams. Center calculation of streamlines, direction of time sequence, and Fibonacci line swirls and set location of travel and set location of settings. Okay? Now in direct signal, we change the correlation lines of the high set location of your galaxy shift lines to center position. Center position locations line signals is high center line interference. Zero gravity line rotations into magnetic high information line sending calculation streamline in set location. Okay, down by equation. Okay, so you all set up the coloration line settings. So the water frame, but this time we go through purple line setting location setting direct signals. So we got an infinity channel that operates lines of 8s, 8s, and 8 position locations and settings, balance set location center. Now, the directing signal line interference would change the 8 line centers in 3 8 line centers locations of north, east, west, and south. So equal lines of north and equal lines of south, right? Setting position locations. So the north line becomes the east line, and the west line becomes the south line, and the south line becomes the east line. Calculation of the north line and center position location of track line. This gets you in a better position locations how to use your fluctuations to your voice line, written lines, rotation surface, and set location setting into your line connections to your infinity cycle of all position locations of voice patterns in direction of time sequence of position of traction. Okay, done by equation. Now it's all set up. Okay, this is why, yep. Well, that's exactly what it is. It's all calculate and modify how you get into flowing recognition line condition settings and how you travel through these 3 throw patterns. It's all direct signal. So that's going to be out of the equation. Traveling, gone, but still there. See the illumination line? See, it's still there. But you tell me why it's glowing. Because it's coming from inside line conditions of me. This isn't produced from lights outside. This is produced from inside me. That's reflecting line settings from out calculation setting to its digital pad of illumination. See, it's illuminating, right? It's its own system, its own intelligence, it's its own operation location system. You got to get grounds with that through operation. Okay? All right, so we go through the volumes, and the volumes is this. We go back on the black line, rotation line settings. Tracking centers, high position of track communications and directions. So we change the correlation of direction settings. It's really powerful when we come into that set locations, guys. Okay? So we synchronize this calculation lines of voice line patterns. Let's change position location of graph lines. So in high center line interference, we come into snowflakes. Okay, center position locations, snowflake line setting. Now we go through one tube line and center location, another snowflake. Now this is water containment line stream location of echo chamber communication setting and directions. All right, directing line signals. See, traveling, gone. See, you can't see it. Boom, it's not there, but it's there. Okay, it's there, and then it's not there. Okay. So when that track lines, it crosses stream, and that crosses lines of 1 atom to 2 atom line surface and set location of travel settings. Now this redirect signals and position locations in one panel of a cross line. This direct signals the location system to its solar sail. See the solar sail line? That's how you see the calculation setting when you see the moon, in a half line rotation of a half pipe. Set line and line settings and center correlation settings of 84 line settings of 2 panels in stream location near positions. Okay? Because you're in 84 now. So the 4 generation lines of 4 equals lines of 4, 2 solar generation line streams, travels calculation streamline and set location of high setting, in direct signal its applications. Now, in calculation line interference, we're going to set up a compass. The compass line center location of clock lines opens all channel streamlines and correlation setting and directions. Now, directing signals lines is really understand the center communications into the flower direction of time sequence. Puts position locations in your tree formation of life cycle and set location. Now, in that direct signal line interference, we take the branches correlation setting, directing signals, data stream interference, data calculation streamline, allocate line interference, metric streams, correlation settings, panel line rotation surface, traffic calculation setting, and directions. Now, directing signal lines, we have the 0 line, ground line, operation surface location, and center line communication. Now, in that signal line interference, we take the position locations and downshift line cross, directing signal locations of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4 in the center line of rotation surface and set location. Travel lines of 4 lines is 3, redirects the signal location in position of 7. So that's 7 channels of stream location of graph lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 12 indicate line setting, a rotation surface, and set location of travel. Done by equation. Okay? So it's really interesting to say location system. So the correlation line, direct line setting is dilation lines and position location of a compass. Water containment setting is on position location to its level. That's the location of travel settings. It's in direct signal, right? So you have a level line setting. So that's going to travel out, gone, but still there. Okay. So the center calculation comes in the clock line. Now the center calculation setting gets position location to a system in travel calculations. Look at that, disappeared. I drew it and it disappeared. See, this is what you got to understand. You see it very quick, very fast because it disappears every single time I put it up. Every time I put it up, it disappears. Look at that. It's there now. See, it travels too fast. So in the center calculation line center sets position location as center line, the operation center of center communication. Now this directs the signals. It disappeared 4 times, right? You have to really pay attention to the set line communication when it comes into line center line interference in 4/3 through pi correlation directions. Know exactly what you're doing through mechanism and calculations to your settings when it comes into your voice grid location to center operations of setting. So the balance lines and the Rickson time sequence put position of panels of operation. Correlation line directions finds calculations balance and set location of center calculation setting. Now, directing line signals is understanding the zero line of travel correlation directions, setting high set calculation of its position. Now, the upper line center line interference changes the operation signal. So this fluctuates the fluctuation line stream interference into vortice line rotation centers in a magnetic line position of channel through string location. Now, directing line centers would come into an orb channel, one line rotation of a seed pod line connections of directions. Directing line signals and set location lines. This is platitude line rotation, calculation stream lines, and center calculation lines, positions of platform, positions of travel. Travel line center line interference is travel calculation setting and how you travel through line setting and track communications to your lines of your echo chambers, your direct signals, and your timeline settings and all position of traction. Very powerful set locations. Okay? Got my equation? Okay? So it's interesting to look at these things because every time I'm drawing these line centers, they disappear. Right? They're so fast and vast. So it's amazing how we see set location settings and directions of travel communications, right? Yeah. All right, so that's going to travel out, but we're going to wait on signal. All right, so in that line rotation interference, we're going to set up a new line setting location to a setting through VAST. And VAST. So VAST calculation setting, direct signals, practical location setting, equal connection of 0, 1. Calculations of 84 and direct signals application system, right? Now, understanding the VAST is understanding the lines of 1. 1 travels line center location of 4 line track lines of communication panel position of travels. Now, this directs line centers the back force line setting in triangular calculation setting to its moon. See? It's traveling very fast. You got to catch it. So in that line center line position, it changes the 0 ground lines into the sun that operate the signal line of rotation surface in moon correlation setting and direct signals of panel position of traction. Okay? So in that position line connection high center, this changes all levels of directions how you see yourself in mechanism line condition of voice lines. It travel calculation to its monotone line rotation. See, it traveled out too quick. It disappears very quick, very fast. See? So the center calculation knows exactly what it's doing through settings into position of travel calculation. Okay? The rotation spin puts you into yin and yang of the process line of 6 and 9 settings of high calculation. Okay, got my equation. All right, so that's going to, I got line, wing line, high calculation, streamline positions. Gone, but still there. So again, we take the VAST and we change the track communication setting and directions. Now this high volumes is line setting. So we go through VAST again. Right, because we're changing interpretation stream. Now this is directing signal lines and calculation stream interference. This is where it comes into A, B, and C. Okay, that's where you guys are, A, B, and C. See, you can't see it, right? It disappeared location setting directions. See? You see it? You can't, right? You see it? You see it, right? Watch. Gone. See? Gone. Can't see it, right? It's traveling. That's the protection through light signatures until you see locations. reflection line, straight line. Reflection line, straight line, right? So it's a mirror resolution of your setting, line connects and height setting, and understand how to travel the location system, A, B, and C, and track communications. Getting out of the old programs, getting into the newer line setting, into your center calculation string location system. Through the atmospheres, through the balance, and through your correlation setting of A, B, and C. Okay? And it travels. Gone. Boom, you can't see it, right? So the vast majority is really you're standing loosey, where you see the car spins, but it's still there, even though it's gone, right? It spins, but it's still there. That is an imaginary line. Do you understand? I'll show you. I'll come back to that setting line interference, and I'll show you exactly what it is in cell location system. Imaginary line, all right? You can't see it. Right? But I drew it out until you see it. You can't see it until you see it. One more time. You can't see it. You saw it travel until you see it. See how it changes? You see the solar graph line changes location. You see the light indication line settings. You can't see it until you see it. You understand? That's an imaginary line. That's what you guys are coming into. Okay? All right. Back in position line connection lines are vast. See, it's traveling very fast. I got to bring it up close for you to see until you can't see. See, that's the cell creation. All right, so directing signals. Yes, drink your water because your light's reflecting everything in settings. Okay, so we go through graph line streams of 3 lines of measure, 3 lines of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4 lines stays in position of balance instead of location of travel settings. Okay, across the streamlines. So we bracket the A and we bracket the B. The B stands on the bottom. Now this puts position location negative or positive and positive over positive. So that's 2 in position locations, positive 1 equal lines of 0. So 0 equals 1. Negative of 0, 1 into positive 2. Okay? So in that balance correlation setting, this directs the signal line center interference. You take the 2 lines, equal lines calculations, equal line calculations of pi, redirect signals lines of 3, 3 line center location, high center and position. Take 3 line calculation setting, direct signals in 1 positive line stream, puts position of 4, 4 line generation line stream interference, calculation lines. Balance, positive 2 line signatures, line calculation, equal line calculations in position line conditions, northwest, south, and east, and travel lines of 4, calculation of 3 line, puts position locations in the 7 graph and center position. All operated through set location setting through VAST. Okay? All right, and then it travels. Right? You can't see it. See? You can't see it, but it's still there. That's the magic. It's not complicated. It's really, really not complicated. Get into your inner child, how to get in position to your mind adaptation line conditions, guys. Okay? That's all. All right, so in that VAST, we change the VAST lines in position location of volume. Now you have to be very cautious because you're adding a V on top set locations of travel. Okay? So you have to know exactly where to put the position of coordinates of calculation. Everything is connecting to a map of its equation. You're changing letters, numbers, and shapes and symbols to its set locations of travel, of mechanisms of traveling through light location. You see it, and then you can't see it. See? But it's still there. So in that set line condition system, the A, B's, and C's changes the atmospheres and lines. 3 signature lines of circle line rotation centers in set location of travel settings. Okay? So in that set location system, you come in the 2 lines, strain lines, in position to your pyramid lines, and all calculations of 3, 2, and position of 1. So position of 3, position of 2, and position of 1. So that's 1, 2, and 3 in track communications into your throat line rotations, into your ground line operations streamlines, into your breathing mechanism setting location of travel settings and calculation. Now in direct signal, you have to understand how to use the circulation line settings in position location of traction. The center calculation. Center calculations of 2, center calculations of 1, and set location of travel settings. Okay? Now that sets up energetic graph line stream in a holographic location system. So you put 2 panels on each side line interference. Voila, sending coordinates sending to your pyramid. Right? So getting into that position locations, knowing how to use your throat. My throat is changing, right? So in that line, center line interference, right? Really how to really stretch it. So when you get into the line condition of a heartbeat, right? Right? So it's really understanding the wave, how it goes up and down, right? Same thing, locations, anything in set locations. Everything has an impulse of set locations, right? You have to learn how to use it through the mind, understand the concepts, all right? Because it has high volume of VAS. The velocity of volume accelerates the system of teleportation, okay? Really understand that through its heart megas locations to your settings. Because you have impulses right here in 2 set locations. Impulses here, 2 set locations. Impulses on your wrist, impulses on your ankles. See? You have to know where the impulses are in set location system because it's an impulse of you through track locations. Multipass. So in that set line communication setting, we do direct signals. All right, so we take the calculation modification line settings of negative over positive, balance lines of 2 positives, equal line calculate settings, 4 over lines, 3 calculation settings, 7 in direct signal and center communications, open all track communication setting and direct signals as center operation. Look at that, it disappeared. It's just having too much fun with me here. Okay? See? All right. Done by equation. You can still see it, right? So it's about understanding what you see is what you can't see. So it's all kicking the mind into configuration. Configuration is all lines of configuring. So it's kind of like configuring location to an impulse line, center location, electrical line graph. It's that high center interference of travel calculations. But the mechanism line interference. So the mechanism line interference doesn't send the track communications, but it extends the balance location of equations. So the formation location of factors, timelines times pi, but the direction line sequence. So that's what the team is coming into, is all of your questions set into your avatar set location. You can't see it, right? Because it's traveling, see? Watch it disappear. Gone. But it's still there. See? Do you understand what the imagination line is? That's why you can't see it. Right? Because the light is traveling too fast for you to see it until you see it. It's got a glare, right? It's a reflection. Reflection, no reflection. Reflection, no reflection. Okay? So we have to understand not just how to use the imagination, but how to use it all through formation. Through calculations to its question. Question to no question. See? Watch it disappear. Watch it disappear. Watch it disappear. Watch it disappear. Gone. Okay? Do you understand the imagination line now that you can't see until you see it? You see how powerful it is? Now, if I add something to it, you won't know what it is. Right? If I add something to the equation, you're not going to understand what it is. Right? Is it a question mark? No. It's an 8. Right? If I keep adding the frame lines and center line communication of travel settings and high position locations, it's still traveling and you still won't see it. Right? Until you see it. Right? Until you see it. Right? You can't see it until you see it. Okay? Now you understand the importance of location system to your phenomenon settings. Makes sense, doesn't it? All right, so in that direct signal, it's into your location setting because this is what we're coming into in track communications. All right? So in that signal, we come in as solar panels, direction of time sequence, center lines and center position location to its operation. This comes into an energy hub. Another calculation setting has to target lines of portal line rotation surface because it sets signals in high calculation setting to alpha, delta, and theta, a high calculation, right? Now you can see it, right? But you can't see everything. See? To understand creation is to see everything, not just part of it. Because if you're just seeing part of it, you're not seeing the whole picture. It's line communication settings. Never understand that correlation setting until you understand your system, right? Never judge a book by its cover. Okay? So in that position, we come in the triangulation line. The center calculation line centers its height, center interference, and travel calculation in the center position. Okay? So in that signature pattern, we go into the center offices and high position locations. Into the sun, into the moon of operation surface, high correlation panels of its intelligence of face recognition of time sequence, and set location setting, indirect system, and set location to a system. See the intelligence? See the intelligence? See the intelligence? See it? See the intelligence? There you go. So that's going to travel out lines, but it's still there. Even though I erased it, I didn't, because I know it's still there. It's gone, right? But it's not. It's still there. See? This is way beyond for you to understand. So it's you understanding what you can't see is what you're seeing. So in that direct line setting, you have to really understand how to use your correlation setting and directions, how to use right over left in a panel of operation to its hologram set locations. So in communication, you come into pi and you cross the signals. Okay? So this sets position locations to its hologram of set location system. This is the hologram. Okay? So what's above is below. Okay? But this comes together. This isn't separated. This is not a reflection. This is the whole unit. It just looks like a reflection. So what it is just light, shades, and shadows of its set location system to its track location. Isn't that amazing? What's above is below. So it's connected. There's no separation in eco-line calculation setting. No separation. Okay? So in that position location comes into a lines of a spherical sphere, a set location of travel setting. And that calculation comes into its triangulation. Okay? Of its Merkaba tesseract or tetrahedron of what it's creating to its setting position of travel. Okay? Very powerful in set locations. Right? So it's amazing how it creates its own geometric shape of its own design, of its own calculation streamline, of its intelligence. See the intelligence? Setting position locations, here are the I-line settings. Here's the intelligent location system. There's the intelligence. Yeah, eyes are traveling. UFO line rotation. Okay? So in that set line communication setting, you have to really understand what you're doing through traction, because you're going to start seeing more levels of face recognition. Okay? So in that direction, I really want you to understand the imagination line, because that's what creates everything. The line itself, right? You can't see it until you see it. This is what you're seeing, and this is what you don't understand, is why you can't see it yet. You understand? So this is already here until you understand what you don't see. Okay? So it's amazing when you come into that set of locations. All right? Yeah, class for kids. Well, it is. That's exactly what it is. You have to understand what imagination is, because it's nothing but a horizontal line of communication to your system. We all calculate and rotate in the same way. We all rotate the same way in set location setting. You're just on top of the set locations of what's going on in your system. Okay? And your set position locations is your pyramid. Your pyramid is here. This is your pyramid under the ground of operation, because you don't understand the setting. Okay, so there's a pyramid below the ground. Now, understand the circulation line stream has a calculation to its own set locations. But you have to stand your pie charts. You have to stand the center communications into your own crystal grid that you stand on in set position, in set locations. Okay? Now, in that direct signal, you come into this. This is your energy field. Okay? So you have a force field inside, okay, that reflects everything outside. So I'm just showing you exactly how it's all set up. Force field inside, energy field outside. Understand? This is your pie chart. You guys refer to it as a halo. It's not a halo. It's your pie chart. So center calculation setting and direct signals and where you're going in travel set locations to dimensions of space. Okay? That's how it's set up. So in that set line, you come into this set locations. Then you come into your geometric shape. Your Merkaba, your tesseract tetraregion. This is what is in track communications. Directing signals. This is what it is, the creation. Okay? So you have to travel through this first to understand you first. Right? So that's what it is. Your body becomes a transformation device. So it high rotates its line center high interference, and it comes into center calculation setting in position location in this system. Okay? And then it rotates. Okay? And then it comes into its own atom of set location of travel setting. Okay? So it travels really, really fast in high set calculations, and you have a torical field. This is the torical field that it's around in set locations. Okay? Do you understand the process now? Do you understand how this works in all position locations of setting? Understanding you have a force field, understanding you have an E field, understanding you have a torical field, understanding you have a magnetic field. See? You have to understand all calculations to your settings into Merkaba, tesseract, and tetraregion location system of travel recognition. And once you understand that, you travel through it. You travel through it in all set location settings. Indirect signal. You travel through the set location settings and directions. Setting position, operation surface, and travel calculations. Okay? So how does everybody feel about that? Amazing, isn't it? See, now you understand the process, how this all works, right? But I think it's incredible how you're all set up positions to your settings. Okay? Through your magnetic fields, through your torical fields, through your force fields, through your energy fields, through your energy cycles. Energy cycle, okay, is basically, okay, all set position locations. It's all different line connection travel. Center calculation setting, indirect signal. So in position locations, this is what it looks like centers, okay, in set location system. Okay? Now, it's all mechanism line center travel. Doesn't matter. What you have to understand is the solar generation line has to understand you through triangulation up and triangulation down. Okay? That's what has to be in balance every single day. So in that set line condition system, you can actually travel through it, right? In 3 set line conditions, right? So you're traveling through your set positions, through travel locations. Okay? Now, once you understand that, this goes above this, right? But to understand that is to understand the 144, your crystal grid, because it walks its system to its location setting. See? It walks a system to its location system. So this travels here and plateaus and teleports to there. It needs a platform. Okay? It's a walking system. Okay? To its set location. Very powerful set locations to its setting. Okay? So that's why you have to understand the 24 of your grounds, your 48 of your windows, your 72 computers, and your 144 of your crystal grid location setting to your platform communications through traveler mechanism. Okay? So it's really interesting to look at locations, right? It's traveling, but it's still there. Right? See, it's, I can't see it. I can't see it. Well, if you can't see it, it's not in view for you to see it yet because it's not that frequency. It's already at its frequency, but you're not at that frequency to understand what is going on through travel. Right? Okay? So energy cycles are little bubbles, okay, around your system. They're archetypes. So the rotator and spinners. Okay, so let's get in this and unconditioned setting directions. So you're in the center position. Always get in your crystal grid because that's all set location grounds. It's all connected to your ground set locations. Okay? Now in that set lines, energy cycle is an archetype that goes around your body. Okay, it rotates, right? It goes around and around, goes around and around, goes around and around like this. Okay, you need that. Okay, so that keeps you levitated. So it activates the streamlines in center position of down cross locations, stream locations, and adds a flux capacitor to its calculation setting directions. See the intelligence? Center position attraction in position locations. Now in that signal line interference comes in this set location to its setting and direct signal. What do we have? Correlation setting directions. What does it look like in position location line setting directions? Intelligence. What is it? A light bulb. Light bulb. Woo. Wow. I got an idea. Just turn on a light. Now it's got 3 volts in center position. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now you understand the concept of a light bulb and all line connections of travel setting locations. Okay. So basically, you can travel through anything in set location, but you have to understand the mechanism of travels or you can't see it through travel. You can't see it because it's a higher frequency than you. Right? So how can you focus on anything that you can't see yet until you understand it? Okay? All right. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yes, a light bulb, right? It's easy to create, especially when it's already created. Get connections and settings to a door. What is a door? Well, a door line set in high position locations. This is a door. Okay, this is a door. It's all connected to this creation line interference. It creates its own design and set location system and intract communications. So calculation modifications. I'm looking at the door and I'm drawing it, but I know it is intract communication. Okay, it's a door, but you can't see it because it's traveling too fast. You can't see the boxes. You can't see the panels. You can't see the dimensions. You can't see the perception of light until you see it. Okay, that's creation. So when it travels lines, it travels calculation into its positions. All set locations. Send and track communications and setting. All set position of travel. Can't see it, can you? There's something there, but you can't. Something's missing until you understand what it is. Okay. Or anything erection of time sequence line connection to the system. You open up the door. The door is open in set locations. Okay. So we all have to understand how to see everything of its pattern, of its own creation and its beauty, of its own art, of its own design. Created by its own system. It's created by its own system through energy. Now, in correlation setting, you're saying direct location system. The spacing line created that. Okay? Yes and no. The yes part is the thought position locations. But without energy, without vibration, without frequencies, without harmonics, and without the envisionary lines and locations settings, you're not creating anything in set location system or structure. Because it's all formation locations of engineering your set location system of your avatar of its design through its creation. Okay? Very powerful becoming that set locations. All right, so we're done. That's it. That was fun. Hope you guys had fun. Line setting, high position of track lines. My position of my throat line is back in setting. See, it's all connected with high center interference. It clears everything that doesn't understand the system location after how with locations. So in that directions, you have to really understand how it surfaces through you now, how to use it, right? Really understanding how to conserve your energy line setting locations, right? You don't want to waste anything in line communication of energy and then you don't need to, right? Know exactly when to use it and how much vast volume you need. So it's like a container of water. How much water do you need? Oh, I got too much. I'm going to tip. Whoa, right? So you don't want to tip anything because what happens when you tip water? It falls over. And then you got to bring it back up, right? Or you got a leak in the bottom. So every time you fill it up, it's not filling up. It's not filling up because there's a leak. These are the things you have to be aware of when you are traveling through the mind, through your avatar. Okay? All right. Okay, signature lines, we go into 85 lines. Whoa. Setting correlation direct signals of phenomenal line rotations and percentage of perception. Setting correlation directions of your phenomenal lines to let them tell any setting directions. So as the line connections of tomorrow line stream, okay, in center position, we're starting class early, okay, because I got to leave line calculations to somewhere else in location setting. Avoid traffic calculations. So class will be at 9 a.m. Okay, be there or be the square. Adios. See you guys in 5:10. Adios. Doo-doo.